classroom and starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Listen to us online at wwdbam.com or on the WWDB-AM Talk 860 app.
Good afternoon, greater Philadelphia area. This is Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole, she's Sarah Tymon, she's Stacey Mitchell, and we've got Nick behind the camera, and we all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Mainline, the number one RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we're going to talk about this market. We were literally just chatting about this right before the show, where it's a little challenging right now for folks that are out there. There's a lot of things happening. It's kind of a weird time, and we're going to start on the consumer side. And again, we're streaming live every week, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. And I want to lead with this article from Fortune Magazine. I want to get your feel, ladies, from what you're seeing in the marketplace. Lance Lambert came out with this article today at 4 a.m., and it shows that housing market affordability is worse now than at the height of the 2006 real estate bubble. What is fueling that is mortgage rates. We saw them get quoted at 7.625% today on a 30-year fixed. That's the highest rate in over 20 years. And obviously, that's a big driver on affordability. So what are you seeing out in the market right now with the sellers that you're working with and the buyers that you're trying to help? Because this is something that I don't think a lot of people thought we'd get this far, and now we're closer to 8 than we are closer to 7 on the 30-year fixed.
I feel like it's been a little bit of a double-edged sword because I think that a lot of the sellers are still expecting to get, everything and well over on terms and price. And then for the buyers, I mean, a lot of them, are really, they're having to be tight because of affordability.
Yeah, I agree. It's really interesting what's going on because if unaffordability is at its highest since 20 years? So we're talking about 2003, the lead up, the run up, the run up to the housing crash in 08. So what happened before that was prices peaked, home pricing peaked, and the interest rates. I think I don't know exactly where they were at that time, but they were probably in the 4s and 5s. But the housing prices peaked. But now we have the higher interest rates, which that 7.6. That was, I didn't want to see that today, but it came across. And we have peak pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So for buyers, it really, really is a struggle.
Yep.
And I myself had 2 clients submit offers this weekend, and both of them, the one got completely blown out. There was 12 offers in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he just said it went well above asking.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one, they got kicked out because the sellers wanted a 4-month lease back. My clients didn't want to do it, but somebody else was willing to do it.
Right.
So that's the situation we're in. It's still highly competitive, but they're feeling that, hey, I'm paying more in interest rates.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying peak price.
Yeah.
What am I getting here,
Right.
So it is very frustrating all the way around.
Well, there's some other economics behind this. Stacey, you hit on it. So if you look back at what preceded the 2008 crash, what we're not dealing with right now is an excessive surplus of homes for sale. I think a lot of people would actually like that. That would that would there'd still be transactions to be had because inventory continues to remain a challenge. But because housing inventory is hovering at historic lows, and we saw in July 2023, so last month, we saw a 47% decline in homes available compared to July 2019. So just 4 years ago, we're seeing half the homes available, basically. And we're not plagued by risky mortgage products that contributed to the 2008 bust. In fact, the housing pandemic boom was the opposite of the boom in that, like leading up to 2008, because it was led by households with high income who, because of low mortgage rates, were seeking out a new home, and they had the ability to work from home. And there's a graph here. I'm going to send this to Nick to post on the broadcast where it shows on Fortune magazine, they have three components of the drivers of housing affordability, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. And one is the income component, two is the house price component, and three is the mortgage rate component. And if anytime this goes negative, it means that component worsened housing affordability on a year-over-year basis. And if you look at the drive here on, like, the red is mortgage rates, right? Like, I mean, look at that. That's what's driving all this here more than anything else. Income doesn't seem to be a driver. Housing prices are actually on the positive side because the appreciation slowed down a little bit. We're not seeing 10% year over year. It's like 3 to 5, which is the historic norm. So because of what's going on with rates, you know, we're in this like weird spot where the only people that are transacting right now are folks that absolutely want to move on the buy side, and there's a lot of those. But the sellers coming to the market are the ones that either already bought something or have one of those serious motivating factors. And to me, it's not necessarily a bad move to be selling in the current market or to be buying in the current market, because when rates do come down, that fever pitch is going to be real. I think it's going to be crazier than anything we saw the past 3-4 years. Mm-hmm. So how are you advising folks right now when they're saying affordability's tough, rates are too high, there's no inventory? I mean, this is like an everyday conversation. I've talked to 24 people today, and it came up maybe 7 or 8 times.
Yeah, I mean, if it's for someone on the buy side, you know, looking at maybe expanding areas, like what really are the must-haves? Like, would, you know, if initially somebody wanted something that was very turnkey, would you be willing to, you know, to do something that is still like move in and livable, but, you know, there's projects that you have to get to over time, and then focusing on, you know, monthly payment. Like, can you afford it at this rate?
Mm-hmm. I agree. Expanding the area that you're searching in.
Yep.
And looking for inventory that's been on for a little while longer than just something new that hits the market 1 or 2 days. I think that's where the opportunity could be. And also, if there's any, you know, FSBOs or anything temporarily off market, expireds, you know, I just kind of rummage around and see what I can find. I've gotten to the point where I'm calling in certain neighborhoods where I have found past rental listings. I'm calling those people and calling the sellers and seeing if they want to sell instead of rent again. Mm-hmm. So I haven't produced any good results, but I'm talking to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and, you know, we're going to talk about that in the later segments here about playing the long game. Tom Ferry came out and addressed some of the biggest challenges prior to his success summit that he's having right now. So I totally get that. What we're seeing, though, and to your point, is that you've got to almost manufacture the inventory or manufacture the opportunities. Glenn Kelman came out and he was talking to Market Watch that the current transaction level is about as low as it's ever going to get. He said that basically the housing market is, he used the words rock bottom, which I would, if you're a real estate agent, don't ever tell your clients the market's at rock bottom. It's just bad language. Sales volume couldn't be any lower. The only people moving right now to what we've discussed are the ones that are absolutely having to, or they've got some big driver. And because of rates coming up like this, it's not offering any relief. Typically, when you see this happen, you see some relief when it comes to rates. We're not seeing that right now because the demand is so frothy. And because of this, what I anticipate happening, because we talked last week about like the 8 people that predicted rates are going to be down in like the 6% range. Do you think that's actually going to happen, first and foremost, by the end of the year? That's 4 months away.
I know.
No.
It's hard to imagine that now.
The only lever I see here is that the Fed doesn't keep shooting their mouth off about lowering rates, because that seems to be that almost spiked this when they said we're going to hike rates again. I have a hard time believing that, but and predictors are always wrong. I mean, I remember some of the predictions we've talked about on the show here where people saw like 20% price growth year over year, which hasn't happened either. So when rates do come down, just imagine the people that are going to come out of the woodwork. So I really caution a lot of these sellers and buyers that are just waiting and waiting and waiting, because we went through this when we got shut down in 2020. we went through this when we told people rates were going to go up, and some people were just kind of waiting for the market to calm down. It just has not happened yet. So how do we see the rest of the year playing out in light of this higher than ever affordability issue that we're dealing with?
How do we see it playing out?
Give me your crystal ball between now and December 31st, Stacey.
Oh my
and Sarah.
goodness. Yeah. I think it really is all about identifying the super motivated people, whether they're buyers or sellers, and really just working hard on their behalf. But there has to be that motivation factor, or you're just going to be kind of spinning your wheels. Yeah. How's it going to be playing out? I mean, we're still producing. I mean, we're still getting people under contract. I see it, in our firm. So there's hope.
Right.
So for those people out there that do have a real need, yeah, you just have to continue the process. And it is going to be frustrating, but, keep your mind and keep your eye on the prize. Like the goal is to get into that home. And if it's a long-term thing, you're going to be there for about 10 years. Be okay. You're going to be able to make it yours.
Yep.
And you're going to benefit from not having to pay rent anymore, but you're going to be in your home. It's going to appreciate in value. So I think that's the key, keeping people motivated and just, constantly continue the search.
Yeah. I think it, on the buy side, like 100%, like motivation is like key. And then within that, kind of bracketing it into two different categories. If there's someone who is very highly motivated, but they need the right home to pop up, every day, looking to see what else has hit the market, what has come back to the market, and being quick to get in there and quick to make a decision. For the people who are maybe a bit more conservative, that they're not going to be making those aggressive offers, certainly still, putting those properties in front of them, but really highlighting the ones where they may have more opportunity to negotiate, whether that be price, terms, whatever. So I guess like knowing your client and knowing like where their strengths are and like what they're willing to do to get the house, and then acting accordingly for what you're putting in front of them and kind of how you're, just getting properties in front of them.
Well, and Sarah, you've done a really good job about keeping people moving forward in a positive way. So after things don't go their way, and and Stacey, you've done the same thing. I mean, I've seen it happen where it's almost like a loss when someone loses a house. Like not in the magnitude that a lot of people think of loss, but there's a challenge there. And if it's not blind optimism, I want to be really clear about that, because if you're blindly optimistic and you're just telling people it's a good time to buy or sell all the time, you might as well just, I've said this before, turning your license now. Instead, it's, hey, so now we know what to do. Let's use that play next time, because the longer this goes on, there's so much tension in the market right now. It's just such a weird time, because you look at even the next Fed meeting, right? So it's in 28 days. There's an 84.5% chance, according to the CME group, that we're going to see rates stay where they are. Now, we got 30 days to go, so who the heck knows how this is going to play out. I like that number if the Fed doesn't raise rates. What they're waiting for is the job market to kind of break and unemployment to go up, which is a whole nother thing. And we can talk about that, because now there's even talk of, I don't know, did you guys see this, that there's legislation being proposed in Pennsylvania for a 4-day work week now?
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, good luck for real estate agents, because we don't. But I mean, think about this though. That's going to that will cause some people to walk away from their jobs. They'll say, "I'll get a 4-day job somewhere else at the same pay rate." By the way, this is the third time it's been proposed in the Pennsylvania government. So, if some of this stuff happens, I could see employment breaking a little bit, and then the Fed gets what they want. But looking at the market right now, I don't see this changing anytime soon. And unless the Fed really changes their tune, I mean, the borrowing costs are prohibitive. And until rates come down, I mean, home sellers are also home buyers. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest lock-in that we're seeing. I mean, there's only so many estates and divorces and people that own second homes that already know where they're going. And there's more and more people that are younger wanting to get into properties. I don't see this changing. And no matter what happens here, unless the Fed really reverses policy, and even then, You got all these people that bought at 3%. Why would they move unless they really need to go somewhere?
Right.
Yeah, I don't. It's an interesting situation. I don't see how we're going to build our way out of it. Essentially,
Right.
It's just we haven't been able to build enough since when a lot of builders went out of business because of the housing crash. So and they just really started to ramp up in 2015 to 2018, and then COVID hit, and then the supply chain issues. So there hasn't been enough time for them to really ramp up and build. And we have such an influx of people. People are, relocating all over the place now because of because of COVID. They've realized different things. They didn't want to live in the city, so they come out to the suburbs. They need a home office because they're working from home. The house was too big, so they want to downsize. So you have all the shuffling around. The millennials are coming into the market. They've been able to save all this money, and they're coming into the market. So and the boomers are downsizing.
Yeah.
It's the perfect storm.
Right. Well, and I feel like for like the new construction and the new builds, there's like a couple different pockets where you see that, but that's not the same market that a majority, like there's a lot of like luxury,
Yeah.
new builds, like,
And not a whole lot of single family builds.
right. Right.
In middle of the road, single family.
Right. Like,
Tons of townhouses.
Yep.
And not even tons. Townhouses.
Yep.
But people that are looking for that mid-grade, single family home, new construction doesn't exist.
no, they're all like, they start at like 800,000, and that's your starting price.
That's your base.
Right. So like that's well above what our average, individual is looking for. So it's it's tough.
Yeah. So if you have the millennials that want that starter home, but then you also have the boomers who want to downsize, they're looking at the same starter homes basically that the millennials are looking for. So it's very, the competition is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you actually bring up something that's a really interesting point, because one of the challenges we have is all these zoning requirements. That there's minimum lot sizes in a lot of townships when there's open space. There's a 7.5 acre parcel getting developed in Wayne, right off of Stratford and Eagle Road, kind of just west of North Wayne Avenue. They're going to put 38 townhomes in there. I guarantee you the starting price on this is going to be like $900,000.
Right.
And there's only 38 of them. That's a drop in the bucket. That doesn't do anything. And if you look at new construction, to Sarah's point, I want to give you the actual numbers of what new construction pricing is. And I want to let's just look in the Tri-County area. So we'll put in Chester County, Delaware, Montgomery. What's your over-under here? Let's take a little action on this. So where do you think the prices are going to come in? Let's do a Price is Right style.
Wait, for how much the new construction?
What the average asking price is for new construction right now in Chester, Delaware, Montgomery County. What do you guys think?
Average 600. I don't know. That's average. Well, I don't know because there's a lot of high. Okay, I'll stick with my 6.
I'm going to say 710.
710? All right. Well, I wish I was betting with you guys on this because I would have won, because it's not even close. So the average number, you ready for this? Here we go. The average asking price for new construction right now is $948,000 in Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery County.
Wow.
That's out of 510 listings.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
The median is 754
for new construction.
New construction.
Yeah.
So I mean, and to your point, I mean, these new homes, they're just built at such a premium, and because the market's accelerated so much, the builders can't keep up. There's not a lot of land either. You really got to go west to get new construction in our marketplace. So there's all these things factoring in. So, builders can't solve it. A lot of people like Logan Motoshami at Housing Wire thought that we would see more inventory come to the market in like the 11 to 17,000 new homes listed per week when rates got this high. What we saw this past week wasn't much of a change. It was only about 4,000 units. It's still the highest of where we were year to date. So we're still in this spot where things just keep churning at this slow pace, and it's really a grind. So the last question I got for you here before we take a break: are we going to see 8% rates here? That's I mean, I personally, I don't think they go there. I think we're wait to see what happens after Labor Day. We're in this like end of summer swoon right now, and because there's not a lot happening. Like, you look at the news and what's going on, I think this is just a function of the seasonality of the market. That's my guess based on 21 years of selling real estate. What do you two think?
I feel like I should lean into this 21 years of experience and not say
I'm wrong all the time, just
right.
like anybody else. So it's don't take my word for it.
I wouldn't be surprised if they hit 8.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling that they will. And as much as that's my gut feeling, and usually my gut feeling's right. I don't want it to go there.
Yeah.
I really don't, but I do have a feeling they're just creeping up, along with everything.
Yeah,
Gas
like
prices, everything.
I'm not rooting for it,
Right.
by any means,
Right.
but I would not be surprised if it hit 8.
Well, we got to see the 10-year yield come down. That's really what it is. So right now it's at 4.3 today. Roughly, it's been as low as 4.2. If that goes higher, that's where I get concerned. I'd love to see it trend a little closer to 4. So this is going to tell us what ends up happening here. So we'll talk next about kind of the challenges surrounding this because affordability is a challenge right now. However, if these rates do come down, and when they do, I'm nervous for the buyers and sellers that have been waiting because there's going to be way more competition for you.
Yeah.
Warren Buffett always says you want to buy when people aren't buying. And he just made a big investment in D.R. Horton and some other builders with his company, Berkshire Hathaway. Not the real estate company, his company, Berkshire Hathaway, a little different. So let's take a quick break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about Tom Ferry's top issues facing real estate agents. And then we're going to wrap it all together in the third segment when optimism becomes a problem, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are just blind optimists right now about the market. This is Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com.
Mortgage America is equal housing lender, NMLS 1285001.
I'm Tom Toole of the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line. If you're thinking of becoming a real estate agent in the greater Philly area, I have a special offer for you. Our team did $165 million of volume in 2021, making us the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania and a top 1% team nationally. Our agents love us because we offer them a successful career, a great life, and an unbeatable culture. Agents who've been with us for at least a year average 30-plus sales. Even our brand new agents average 17 to 24 sales a year. We offer proven systems and expert training. We help you set more appointments and sell more houses. Now here's the offer. If you don't have a real estate license yet, we offer real estate scholarships so you can get one for free. Check it out at realestateScholarshipProgram.com or visit the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line at tomtoole.com. That's tomtoolewithane.com. Get more out of your real estate career, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
For the best local mortgage service and great rates on your money, look no further than Mortgage America. We have been operating in the greater Philadelphia area for 40 years with a focus on smooth, easy access to home purchasing. Whether you're a first-time buyer, upsizing or downsizing, or just refinancing, we have programs for you. We also have closing cost assistance programs and access to subsidized interest rates. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. To learn more, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000. We always have a person available to take your call with around-the-clock human service. Purchase your home with the personalized local service you find at Mortgage America.
Mortgage America is an equal housing lender, NMLS 128501.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line. Welcome back to Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Stacey Mitchell. She's Sarah Tymon. We've got Nick behind the camera, and we all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX Main Line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. And we're streaming live every single week on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. So we're going to be a little more positive in this segment. I mean, unfortunately, you have to get real with the facts of the market in any business and the facts in your business. So may not be the most exciting topic. We're talking about it because people need to know this information. So now we talked about the consumer side, how there's some challenges in affordability. Well, now how do agents deal with that? Because I've seen a full spectrum of mindset shifts during these past 8-9 months here. And really, I would say it's about 12 months because like October last year, we started to see rates go up. Things got a little harder. So Tom Ferry, we all work with him. He's got his Success Summit going on in Dallas right now. And he came out with something I found pretty important, which was the biggest challenges that professionals in real estate are seeing today. And he led off with smart agents stopped complaining about the market. And we weren't complaining about it. We were just talking about it. I want to be very clear. We're not being hypocrites here. So I'm going to run down these challenges with you two ladies. And I just want to hear your take on it, what it means, how you're dealing with it, because the first challenge is market perception. And, I have a very clear opinion on this. We talked about affordability stuff. Rates are going up. There's no inventory. How are you dealing with market perception when talking to your clients and when talking to yourself in business planning for your own businesses?
Well, yeah, I mean, you there's always that person that hits you with, oh, the market's going to crash or the market's, the interest rates are too high. But you really just have to ask them questions and get to their motivation. And when you get to those, when you start listening to what they're telling you, then you can give them the facts and give them the data. And also let them know that real estate is still the number one best investment for your money. I mean, honestly, it is. That's why so many people are still trying to buy. If you're paying rent, you're paying 100% interest. So that's why people still want to buy real estate. And, it's just such a good investment. So that's the positive part of it. And that's what I always have to get back to, how tough the market is when I first bought and my interest rates, and just give them case studies and how people that have gotten into homes in the past year, they have, more appreciated value now in their houses, even if they paid over asking price. So there's a lot of value to those case studies. And I think when people understand that and they see, yeah, it's always a good time to buy real estate. And that is, as cliche as that sounds, it is true.
Yeah, I mean, I think listen to your clients, have empathy for, like, yes, not everything about this is like, rainbows and great. And yes, there are challenges, and let them express those, but then, just kind of bring it back, like you said, to case studies and facts, and give scenarios of other clients that you've been able to help in the past and how they felt after the transaction was over. Because I think sometimes the scariest part is committing to do it and doing it, signing those documents, and getting those offers in and seeing the dollar signs and all of that. But once it's all over with and you're in that house, was it worth it?
I mean, I still haven't had a client that regretted making the purchase.
Right.
I've had people, numerous clients regret not going the extra $10,000 necessary to secure the home. They're the ones that have the regrets.
Yep.
So, in this life, you don't want to have a regret. And if you buy a house and it turns out not to be the right one for you in the next couple of years, you can turn around and sell it.
Right.
With the appreciation, you can sell it. And that's actually one of the most Googled and searched terms on YouTube, is selling your home after 2 years, which you would never have thought of. I look at this as that there's always opportunities. And while certainly the market's challenging, if you know how to deal with that market, think about the kind of clients you're going to attract that maybe you couldn't get the time of day with before, or the folks working with agents that don't understand how to deal with the market, because there will be people that transact. So anytime something goes wrong, and look, we've seen things go wrong at our team all the time. We could go through a whole list. It's an opportunity. That it's almost that breakdown to breakthrough sort of mindset. And when things change, there's going to be opportunities to take market share. So that's the first one. So the second one is proximity in marketing. And this, to me, is really important. So what he means here is, by proximity in marketing, whoever gets closest to the consumer wins. What's your take on that?
Does that mean keeping in front of them?
Sure.
Okay.
That's one way.
So, like, continuous follow-up, providing all the information, set up the e-alerts and the searches, the automatic searches, have a constant touch on them, depending on their motivation, how soon they want to transact. Is it every week you send them something, every 2 weeks, every month? What does that look like for each client,
Right.
for their needs? We focus heavily on that.
Right. Because I feel like it's so easy to not write somebody off, but to not stay in front of them if they're not ready to do something right then. But things can change on a dime, and they have no interest in anything real estate related until all of a sudden they do, and then it needs to happen right then. So I think part of it is like not being at the right place at the right time, because you have to control being in the right, getting your name out there and being in front of them. But I think you do need to be top of mind, because at the time that they need to do something, they're not going to be like going back through all of their emails and text messages to be like, 3
Who
months
did I
ago,
talk
this
to?
agent messaged me and it was great. Like it's going to be like, I need to do this right now.
Right. And they'll go to the first person that's in front of them. Mm-hmm.
So 68% of sellers, 68% of sellers select their agent based on some sort of relationship. So it's not just the email newsletter. It's not just the social media post that, unfortunately, if I see one more selling with social meme out there from a real estate agent, I think I'm going to throw my phone through the wall, where it's literally like having a conversation with them. Sarah and I were making calls today, and I heard you pre-qualify somebody. So many agents don't do that. You know exactly what you were walking into in the appointment. And that extra step of having a conversation with somebody and knowing what's going on, and even just saying, hey, like maybe it's not a good time for you guys to transact. I had this conversation with someone today. They've got a 3% interest rate. The house is too big. They want to cut down on their costs, but if they bought a smaller home, it would cost them more on their monthly payment. So you can't just say, oh, well, yeah, it's a great time to sell. It's, hey, this probably isn't the right time for you. Let's keep in touch, and I'll keep you informed maybe every 3-4 months about what's going on with rates based on what I'm seeing. So it's really the person that's top of mind. And you can do a lot of great marketing stuff there, but ultimately it's the agents that are going to be the most proactive and not just rely on the traditional things like direct mail or email, because they just create reactions. Relationships are developed through phone calls and conversations. All right, we're going to go a little faster here. The third one is post-pandemic real estate landscape. So a lot of folks haven't adjusted to the new normal, and there's no drastic rate drop in sight, just like we talked about. And inventory is struggling, as we talked about. How are agents going to be more self-reliant and proactive? So, I see this as a monster challenge for a lot of folks. How are you two dealing with it in your business? Because I know we talk about this all the time. Like Stacey and I were talking about this yesterday, as an example.
Yeah, just you have to just be creative in where you're looking for your inventory. Are you doing circle dialing? Are you calling expireds? Are you, when you see a house that has a dumpster in front of it, are you sending them a letter or dropping off a note? What are you doing to be proactive? And I think for a lot of people, it's hard. If you're not a self-starter, or like you need somebody to kick you in the butt to do things, and it's going to be hard.
Right.
You have to, these things are, it's stuff that you have to do on your own, and nobody can do it for you. You know
Right.
what I mean? You're the one that has to do it. And if you don't do it, you're not going to generate your own business.
Right.
And being in real estate, you are a small business owner.
Right.
So you have to constantly nurture your business. And if you're not willing to do that, then you're not going to have a business.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I think that there certainly are, like, we talk a lot about, like, during, like, earlier in the pandemic when, like, deals were just falling from the sky and you just had to, like, grab them. I didn't feel like that was the case. Like, it was a different market and a different way that you had to kind of like structure and work things, but every market has its challenges. So I think it's just figuring out what works best in the current situation and leaning on that and being adaptable to shifts and not like just sticking your head in the sand, like figuring out what works and know that like there's always a reason that things can be tough, but like you have to keep going or you have to get out of the business.
Right. Yeah. Every day it's a new thing in this
Right.
business, whether in the highs and the lows and whatever you want to call it. It's 1 second you're getting your teeth knocked in, and the other second, you're getting somebody under contract or getting a listing contract signed. So it's the strangest thing. You have to just really be level as much as you possibly can with your emotions, because it can be a serious roller coaster ride, and you just have to be consistent with your schedule. And I do believe that is difficult for a lot of people. And honestly, I work on the weekends, and I know that there's a lot of agents that don't, or some of them, they're very strict with their weekends being protected. But I mean, before I got into this business, I had another business that I did weekend work. So for me, it wasn't that big of a shift. But for most people that have that structure, we work during the week and then off on the weekends. This type of business can be a little challenging for that kind of mindset too.
Right.
I agree with this wholeheartedly. And Sarah, I find it fascinating. You said you didn't think it was like that kind of business falling out of the sky market, because when I met you, you were doing credit card sales. And literally people would say, Sarah's following up with like a pizza shop owner, like relentlessly, right? And that's translated really well for you this year. You're having a much better year than you had last year. And I mean, you had a new baby and there's some other things going on too. So, I find that to be very fascinating, because the people that there's different levels to success. And some people, they kind of fall into it and they do like a couple sales and they think they're the man or the woman, right? And then they just stop doing all the stuff that got them there, or they just happen to be with a great organization. And then you see like the lack of follow-up and they're not really that motivated. They think it's going to be easy. If you got into real estate thinking it's going to be easy, we're going to have a license collection box that goes around at the end of the show here. And we're going to send it to people, because this is exactly what's happening. And some people are like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to call these people. And literally, I've been making more calls than ever to support our team. And I'm just, we're doing that at scale. And it's going to take time. I know it's going to work. I don't think there's any question about it. And that's a 2008 mindset, not like a pre-pandemic mindset. I get like frustrated when I don't hit my call numbers, because I know I can control those. And my numbers are my numbers. So I think that's really, and knowing your background, I mean, I think the market was really hard in a lot of ways, but I know your background. I'm not surprised you're doing better in a market like this, because you're good at building a relationship with somebody, and then they're automatically going to use you. Not like I caught the lead and you're lucky you got them, because I think a lot of those people just would have transacted whenever they transacted, and they didn't build relationships. So I think that's a great point on your part. We got two more here. So let me get back to so I think we're all on the same page here so far. Actually, there's three more. I'm going to save the rise of AI until last. Actually, let's hit on that one. So people using AI, and I think that a lot of people say they feel like it's going to be really essential for real estate professionals having a strategy for AI. We're on a team, so I think, I kind of tend to take the lead on some of that stuff more so than you do. But, I mean, have you used AI in your business at all? Are you messing around with this stuff? I'm guessing Sarah's a no.
No.
I'm with peace and love. I'm pretty sure you haven't.
No.
So I've been messing around with it. Like, I'll ask it to generate a letter pertaining to XYZ ABC, right? And then it does. It generates one. And it is nowhere even close to how I would speak. So I know that if I did a letter like that to my clients, they would know it wasn't coming from me. They would probably know it was AI generated, because I don't generally, that's not the way that I would even form a sentence. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was like, oh, I can't. That just doesn't sound like me. So I couldn't use it. But, I've been messing around with it, but I haven't really felt that I could utilize it as a benefit. To me, it actually kind of slowed me down, because I had to overthink it.
Yeah.
Instead of just typing out my own letter in my own voice and
Yeah.
So it just slowed me down. But I guess if you know how to use it correctly and properly, and you can insert it into your social media posts or whatever, I don't know, but it takes me forever to post something on social media.
Right.
So to me, it's a big time suck.
Right.
Where I could be doing other things.
Yeah.
Instead of,
I think the amount of time, it would take me to like figure it out and like do whatever, like I don't know.
You would actually have no problem with this. Like it's that simple. I think that's a lot of people are scared about it, and it's literally like you type in what you want, but you have to. So I use ChatGPT a lot. I use it for things you guys probably seen come out from me with like memos and different things. we're doing some Nick and I have a project coming up that I'm really excited about. That's going to be a training. I don't even want to share it on the radio. It's going to be that good. Where we're using transcription software and some other stuff to determine how to go about doing some things a little more effectively. To me, it's not so much about using it all the time, but so Valerie uses it a lot in marketing, listing descriptions. How many times you read a listing description and it's the same thing over and over again? You know how long it takes to type those? I've done these myself forever, right? So that's a way to streamline it and save time. I constantly look it up for hey, what's an SEO friendly headline on an Instagram reel that I post with you guys or things like that. Yeah. I think that there's ways to use, I have the basics down. Yeah. But then there's a whole nother level where if you want something written in a persuasive term or a persuasive tone, you got to tell it to do that. Yeah. Or I constantly write, hey, if you were the best email copywriter in the world, write an email about this. But then, Stacey, to your point, you got to make it your own because a lot of people can pick up that it's written by AI, and it even hurts your SEO and searchability. So, we're fortunate to have a marketing team that does that, so you guys can focus on what you do best, which is selling houses. So that's where I see it really helping a lot of folks. Is there's something tedious, or at least get an outline for it, it's going to save you time.
Yeah. I could see those marketing descriptions, though. Yeah. The listing descriptions. Yeah. That would be very helpful. But we don't have to do that.
Well, and that's my point. So I think it's a unique thing. And that kind of speaks to Tom's fifth one, which was the team dynamics. And, it's either, teams are in a weird spot right now because he says you either have to have a really small team or have a large team, because the middle is this weird spot where it's, you have to do certain things, but you're not able to scale the business as much. So, I mean, you guys have seen our team grow exponentially, and we've been through a lot of iterations. I mean, and how do you feel about the team dynamics as they're changing? Because I do agree that you got to have the right people in the right seat. I mean, you've seen all this. You guys know what I'm talking about.
I think being streamlined and, as being as efficient as possible is important for teams. I can't imagine trying to keep it all together like you do, Tom.
Oh my gosh.
So you know what, though? I actually disagree with you. You know what I basically do right now? I try to attract listings. I look to attract great people like you two. I think I recruited Sarah for 3. I think the first time I called you, you were like, yeah, I'm not selling real estate. I vividly remember this. And we try to attract great people, attract listings, build the brand, and work on big ideas. And besides that, people ask me stuff all the time. I have no idea. I don't know the answer. Someone just asked me something about the listing conversion workshop that we're in. I said, if it's not about listing attraction, you need to talk to Brian because he's running that whole show, right? And Brian's our sales manager. So it may not look like that from the outside, but you can only really have 3 or 4 things you're really taking care of.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like being able to, what's the word that I'm looking for? Delegate work to other people when that's their role, and makes things move faster, makes everything smoother, and then lets you kind of focus on the things that you need to focus on.
Yeah, and I think that's what is so special about being on a team, because you can, it's the whole process. Once you get under contract, I know I can pass it off, and there's a lot of the details and the small things that are going to be taken care of. I mean, obviously, you still have the big part in other negotiations and things like that, but that's what you can conserve your energy for. Right. Those things. But the details, like we were talking about getting the listing, if I had to deal with all, putting it onto the MLS, doing the listing description, make sure it was all correct.
Oh my God.
Uploading all the documents. And
how about going through it with the seller? That is the most tedious thing. And I'm not really good at that. I mean, if you were to hire me as a copywriter, I'd be fired, right? I mean, you're laughing. I mean, it's
yeah.
But there's a lot of things I'm not good at, and you got to kind of acknowledge that. And that's where having the more people you have, I think the better the organization runs, because it allows everyone to grow more too, and they can really settle into what they're really good at. Because you two run your businesses a lot differently, and it's because we have a lot of ways to do things, and the resources there and support. You're both supported in very different ways. So I think that you have to kind of lean. Some people are afraid of growth. If you're not embracing growth right now, I think you're making a mistake. And I think that's really what Tom's talking about.
Yeah.
All right. We're not going to get to the last one here. Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we are going to discuss when optimism becomes a problem. Next on Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.
You shouldn't have to deal with all the red tape when getting your mortgage from a big or online bank. At Mortgage America, we have access to big bank money, but with the personalized and detailed service of a local bank. We are here in your community and ready to serve with fast settlements, low down payment options, and first-time homebuyer programs. Pre-approval is free, no costs or commitments. For more information, visit our website at mymortgageamerica.com or give us a call at 610-439-8000.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender. NMLS 128501.
The Tom Toole Sales Group is the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania with over $165 million in volume for 2021. I'm Tom Toole, and our team has achieved that kind of success by being a great place to work with and to work for. No one knows Greater Philly better than we do. We know real estate, but more importantly, we're real people. We hire the best agents, and we give them all the tools to succeed. Even our brand new agents sell 17 to 24 homes a year because our team delivers the best experience in real estate. Teams deliver a better experience than individuals, and we're a top 1% real estate team in the country. We call it AAA service. We're your advocate, ally, and advisor because this isn't a transaction to us. It's a relationship. If you're buying or selling a home, call the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. That's tomtoole.com. Sell your home for more, and remember the real estate golden rule. You always get more when you work with Tom Toole.
When you're getting a mortgage, you shouldn't have to sacrifice great service just to get a great rate. At Mortgage America, we've been lending with this philosophy for over 35 years. We have access to great low rates without the complications and delays of big or online banks. We're a local Pennsylvania lender with loan officers that you can actually meet. As PHFA's #1 lender, we specialize in all residential mortgage programs, including first-time buyer programs and low down payment options. For your free pre-approval, call us at 610-439-8000 or apply online at mymortgageamerica.com.
Mortgage America's equal housing lender. NMLS 128501.
Have you considered a career in real estate? Do you want control over your income? Whether you have a license or not, call us today at 610-692-6976 or visit tomtoole.com. Join our team, the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line. All right. Welcome back to Tool Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM. I'm Tom Toole. She's Sarah Tymon. She's Stacey Mitchell. We've got Nick behind the camera, and we all work at the Tom Toole Sales Group at RE/MAX main line, the #1 RE/MAX team in Pennsylvania since 2018. We're streaming live every week, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. So I want to get your take on this, ladies, because this is something that I've seen a lot of throughout the country, throughout the industry, when there's some agents, and I would say even most agents, we're in the third quarter of 2023, and some people are just overly optimistic about the next 6 months without any facts to back it up. So they're thinking 2021's right around the corner, or the market's going to turn on a dime as we see rates climb up, as we see affordability challenges. We just talked about all this. So my first question is, are you optimistic about market conditions over the next 6 months? Yes or no? And then if you are, tell me more about that.
I mean, I'm optimistic in that, I think that if you go in and this is something that you've been looking to do, it is something that is going to pay off in the long run. Like the value is there, the appreciation will be there. I'm confident in our local market that you're going to continue to grow. But I think that it's going to take a strong mindset, and that you have to be, if you're just looking for a deal, this probably isn't the time for you. And certainly there are like deals to be had out there. But I think that if you're a motivated individual, there is a lot of opportunity, and a lot of people that maybe had been looking before, given some of these market conditions, have kind of fallen off the radar for a bit. So I think you do have a little bit less competition, but that doesn't mean it's easy offers. The people that are out there are competitive.
I agree 100%. I have a tendency to be an perpetual optimist anyway. So
Mhm.
I'm always the glass is half full as opposed to people who are the glass is half empty kind of person. So I don't know. I feel like you kind of pessimism breeds pessimism. Pessimism. You know what I mean? What you put out there is what you get back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am 100% that way. But I'm not blind what's going on. I understand how the market is challenging, and it's especially challenging for people the consumers, So I have to, step outside myself and think, well, look what they're going through, especially the ones that have to transact. You know what I mean? And keeping them optimistic, like, yes, we're going to get your home. We are going to be successful. I think that's very, very important. But I think just knowing that the work that you put in is going towards something. It is. If you're genuinely putting the work in, it will. There will be rewards to that, because that's always how it is.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see that meme where the guy's chipping away at the stone and then he gives up and the diamond was right behind him next? That it's true. And again, as cliche as it seems, but it is true. If you put whatever you're putting out, you're going to get back in return.
So I love that you're realistic, Stacey, and Sarah. I think you said it well from the consumer side. What I'm clear on is that you can be optimistic about what's going to happen because of the actions and changes that you've made in the face of challenges. But you can't just ignore the facts and think rates are going to come down or inventory is going to pop up or everyone's going to be ready to transact. The only reason to be optimistic is because you've made a lot of pivots in your business. I mean, we've done that, obviously, at our organization in a lot of ways. We've made some changes in leadership. We've really focused on the thing that everyone wants but doesn't want to put the work in on, which is the listing side. And that's been amazing. And I think that's really helped a lot of people, get more serious. We've actually seen our listing sign rate jump 5% since we started doing that, which is not insignificant. I mean, it's a more than a 10% increase from where we were before. So when you focus on things and you realize that, hey, I can succeed anyway despite these conditions. It's actually called the Stockdale Paradox. It's from Good to Great, where it talks about this admiral that was in a POW camp, and he said the first people that died were the optimists because they had no reason to believe they were getting out. They just thought they would, rather than getting real with what's going on, having tough conversations with people, to your point. And if you're that kind of agent right now, or that kind of consumer that says, hey, I know rates are at X. I know inventory's tough. I've got a plan in place to adjust my strategy, like Sarah talked about, where we're going to waive this, or we're going to do this, or we're going to go X amount above, whatever that strategy is. Or if you're an agent who's made the right decisions with your business and know that it's not going to just change overnight, then there are reasons to be optimistic. The challenge I see is that there's a lot of folks that are just, they're looking at the 2020 and 2021 statistics for their business, and they're tracking their numbers there, and they're just waiting for that to pop. That's not where we are right now. You got to look at like the past 6 to 8 months, or maybe what happened before 2020, and that's going to be the best way to approach things. So I'm naturally optimistic too, because I think if you're, you get in what you put out. You attract, like attracts like, and neither of you are negative people. I mean, so how do you stay positive, real quick, as we're getting played out here? What do you do to stay positive in the face of challenges?
Yeah, 5-second funeral for me. Like, you just got to let things roll off, because I always have found it's not ever as bad as it seems, and it's not ever as good as it seems. It's always somewhere in the middle.
Right. No, I think that's great advice. Yeah, I mean, I think, quick, short little funerals, then move on and focus on the next thing.
I'm all about moving forward. Great way to end the show here, ladies. So if you want to follow Sarah, she's on Instagram. It's at Ty_TyTime. You can follow Stacey at _2 Mitchko. You can follow me at Tom Toole 3RD, at Tom Toole 3rd. And again, we're streaming live every week. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just look up Tom Toole Sales Group. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll be back next week on Toole Time Real Estate Radio on WWDB 860 AM.